it's kind of fascinating to witness how our world has evolved over the years. I almost gave my age away by saying how many years, but anyway, well, we have real progress, right? So I think, especially in the last 10 years, where the pace of progress has accelerated, especially in the marketing and advertising space, and technology actually has a big hand in that transformation. We heard buzzwords around CRM, big data, personalization, CDP, loyalty marketing. I think marketers have had to keep up with all that progress, adapt, and then learn how to use these fancy tools. So to all the marketers out there, kudos to you and good work. It's clear that there's a real desire by marketers to get to data-driven marketing and being more accountable to their investments and to their brand's investments. So I'm sure new buzzwords will surface as we progress, but at the end of the day, they have to be data-driven, and technology, the right technology, is the key to unlocking that. And I've had the pleasure of witnessing all that. So I'm very proud that along the way, my teams and I have helped marketers and brands get better at their craft. And it's been an interesting journey for me, and I'm looking forward to even more years on how to see how this whole space will evolve and transform. Well, loyalty was started and intended, right, by brands to cultivate that sense of loyalty amongst consumers to their brands. If I'm brutally honest, and in reality, loyalty was either an afterthought that's poorly resourced, and hence you got basic programs, or if it was well resourced, it was often operated as silos. So brands, there's cases where brands actually outsource loyalty to coalition programs, for example. I think rewards programs are typically very transactional by nature. You buy something, you get something in return. In the eyes of the business, sometimes it's also seen as a cost center. And when the going gets tough, marketing is usually the easy target, right? And budgets get cut, points get devalued. Not the best way to maintain loyalty with your loyal customers. I would refer that as loyalty 1.0. I think technology has enabled creative ways to use data to drive broad loyalty and drive real loyalty. Brands should actually relook their loyalty programs today, just refresh them and recharge them. And marketers, I think, should be aiming for loyalty 2.0, where it is about using data to drive engagement. Maybe I'll give you a simple example, right? Imagine actually if you went to the kitchen and you saw a leak. After checking through, you thought you should replace the faucet. You made a trip to the hardware store and bought a new faucet. Because you are a loyalty program member of that hardware store, you earned some points when you bought the faucet. You went home, you tried to fix it, and you realized that actually you didn't have the right spanner to unlock the existing faucet. So you went back to the store again, and this time round, you bought the spanner. As you go through, again, you show your loyalty card, and you got points recorded for your second transaction of the spanner. You went home and you tried to fix again, and after hooking it up, you saw that it was still leaking at the joints. So you had to go back to the store a third time to buy some sealant tape or some washers. I think by then you were dreading the third trip to the same hardware store. Well, with geofencing technology, the store would have known that you have visited the store the third time in the space of 2 hours, right? It should then maybe send you a voucher for a free cup of coffee to ease your day. Or it can send you also a jump the queue ticket, right, to go to the express checkout. And at the checkout, as you're queuing to pay for your sealant tape and your washer, you presented your loyalty card for a third time. Now, the store would have known that you've bought similar products in the same category in a short space of time. If the right technology was in place, the system would have triggered an alert to the customer service department, and the customer service officer would then give you a call, right? Hey, Mr. Patrick, I saw that you've made 3 trips to our store this morning and bought items related to plumbing. If you ever need help any help, we'll be happy to send our plumber to your home to help you resolve your issues. Now, how would you feel about that? I think you're likely to feel that the hardware store was looking out for you and made you an offer that was timely and much needed, right? And so I think the right technology can help you achieve such type of engagement scale, right? That's the beauty of technology. I'm seeing more and more brands focusing on getting their first-party data strategy right for many reasons, right? Whether it's deprecation of third-party cookies or just the journey towards data-driven marketing. And to be honest, the current economic situation and the foreseeable situation in next year makes it even more critical now to really have a good grasp of your relationship with your customers. I think for me, the basic rule is still about focusing on your customers. Trends will come and go, right? But if you follow this rule, you're likely to have very good programs that can align to what your brand believes in. For example, I get asked all the time if points should be taken out of future loyalty programs. Personally, I think points are important. They help to quantify the relationship, but it doesn't tell you the full story, right? So I think points also commoditizes the relationship between brands and customers. And what happens is that if just taken at face value, the customers become loyal to the points and not to the brands. So they're ready to jump once the points are not there, or if they're used up. Go beyond points and think about other data that you can accumulate, so that together with points, the interactions and engagement becomes meaningful, like the example I gave you just now about the hardware store. So I think the message I would say is to invest in strong technology, invest in people that supports that technology, because we all know the story about buying a big impressive piece of kit that nobody knows how to use, right? So, and I think we need to get in place the right technology and the right people, and invest in the people to support the extraction and optimization of that technology. One last advice I would say is to keep refreshing all the time. I don't know if you know this, but Starbucks, like globally, have got one of the best loyalty programs in the market that marketers actually aspire towards. And I believe Starbucks have gone through 7 or 8 iterations, and they are always on the constant path of getting better step by step, right? And that's being, looking back at the program itself and see where are the areas that can be improved. So I think as long as you keep continuing to focus on your customers, think what align to what your customers need, that's probably the best protection against future-proofing of loyalty programs. And of course, invest in the right piece of technology to help you do that. I think it's heartening for me to see over the years. I think the job title, head of loyalty, becoming more and more common. Head of customer experience becoming more and more common. So that's really, really good to see. It's a clear sign that businesses and brands are putting more and more focus and energy on getting their customer engagements right. So I think cross-functional teams, typically a head of loyalty or head of customer experience will come in to kind of coordinate traditional internal divisions or departments, so that there's this focus on customers. That, at the end of the day, to my earlier point, focusing on customers is the most important. I think I do also believe that this needs to be part of the culture of brands and of companies. They need to be driven at the most senior level, as loyalty or customer experience, for that matter, actually cuts across the entire organization. They got to think about how they can embed, right, the nurturing of customer loyalty across all the customer touch points. I go back to my example just now again about the hardware store, right? It's the loyalty program was set up to provide that kind of infrastructure and data-triggered events, but it's the customer service officer that's going to pick up the phone and make that phone call to the customer. And it's the plumber who is going to be going out there to service the customer. So everybody who touches the customer needs to be very conscious and work towards that loyalty as an outcome and not loyalty as a program. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Our consultancy team actually attempted to dissect the understanding of loyalty. The team got together and looked at all the loyalty programs or loyalty, anything related to loyalty, to try and put some science behind the subject of loyalty. So I'm very happy to share with you that we recently launched the inaugural Epsilon Loyalty Index in Australia. And Epsilon Loyalty Index actually is made up of three main parts. We looked at the share of heart, share of mind, and share of wallet. These three parts, we asked consumers questions around these three areas, and we kind of looked at what drives them towards a loyalty, what drives them towards loyalty to a brand, to a business. And at the end of the day, as I mentioned just now, we want to achieve loyalty as an outcome. A loyalty program gives you a bit of head start, gives you a bit of a process and structure towards building that loyalty. But truly, the loyalty as an outcome is what we all want to drive towards. At the end of the day, I think it must also, for businesses, it must be a measure of bringing incremental revenue to the organization. And truth be told, customers will feedback with their wallets. And I would suggest that brands and companies speak to experts, get their help, and we'll be happy to help you across that journey.